This is the concept development for lesson 8, which is rounding decimals. All right, go ahead and on a whiteboard or in your math notebook, sketch out your vertical number line. We're going to round 49 and 67 hundredths to the nearest 10, the nearest 1, and then finally the nearest 10th. So what I've done is I've written my number on my place value chart, 49 and 67 hundredths. And I'm looking at the number that I'm rounding to. So they're the place that I'm rounding to, so that's the tens place. And I look and I just have a number that is written in my tens place. So I don't have to do anything other than use this number as my low number. So at the bottom of my vertical number line goes 4 and the place tens. And we know that 4 tens is the same as 40. Okay, and then I'm going to go one higher than 4 tens. One higher than 4 is 5 tens, and that actually equals 50. So now I'm going to go in between, what's halfway between 4 and 5, and that would be 4 tens and 5 ones, which equals 45. So I'm looking at 49. Where on my place value chart or my vertical number line would 49 fall? And that would be right around here. So the number that I would round to for tens would be 5 tens or 50. Okay, let's try it again, but this time we're going to round just to the ones place. So I'm going to take a look at my place value chart, and I have a 4 in front of my ones place. So I'm going to squish it over. I'm decomposing the number. What I'm doing is changing it from a block of 4 tens and 9 ones to all ones, 49 ones. So 49 is going to be my low number, 49 ones, since that's the place I'm rounding it to. Let's do 49 ones. And 1 greater than that would be 50 ones. So let's talk about this. What is 49 ones the same as? We just write that in standard form as 49. And then 50 ones in standard form is 50. So what's halfway between 49 ones and 50 ones? Our midpoint would be 49.5. 49 ones and 5 tenths. We write that as 49.5. So now 49 and 67 hundredths, 49.6. I'm looking at my place value chart. I have 49, 49 and 5 tenths, and 50. So 49 and 6 is going to go just a little bit above my midpoint. Since it is in that top half of the vertical number line, that tells me I'm going to be rounding up again. And that rounds to 50 ones. Okay, so this time we're rounding to the nearest tenth. So our number in the tenths place, we have a 6. But if we look to the left, I have something in the ones and something in the tens. So what I'm going to do is squish, squish, decomposing that number, taking it from tens and ones and moving it all into tenths. So all the numbers that are in front of that 6, that 9 and that 4, just squish over and it becomes 496 tenths. So 496 tenths is my low. And what's 1 greater than 496 for my high number would be 497 tenths. And when I write those numbers in standard form, I'll make this just a bit smaller. When I write 497 tenths, that is the same as 49.7. And 496 is the same as 49 and 6 tenths. So halfway between would be, I'm rewriting my number, 496, and halfway between, so 496 tenths, and then I move to the next place over, so hundredths, 5 hundredths. And we know it's 5 because 5 is my number that I use anytime I go halfway between. Halfway between 1 and 10 is 5. Halfway between 40 and 50 is 45. And that number written in standard form is 49.65. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my number. 49 and 67 hundredths. So my number 67 is just a little bit greater than 65, so that's going right around there. No, higher up. It would go probably a little bit more halfway between, but it's in that top section of the vertical number line, which again tells me I'm going to be rounding up. And so when I'm rounding to the nearest tenth, my number is 49 and 7 tenths. Okay, here's 2 more practice problems. I hope you're feeling a little more confident in doing this. Once you can identify the low number and the high number, you're almost there. So we're looking at rounding to the nearest tenth the first time, and then we'll do hundredth in just a minute. So 9 and 949 thousandths. I need to identify my tenths place. So I'm looking at my place value chart, and I'm writing my number. I see 9. But I look to the left, and I see that there's a number in front of it. So what I'm going to do is decompose that number from ones and break it down into tenths. And when I do that, it becomes 99. I'm just squishing that number right over. 99 tenths. So that's my low number on my vertical number line is 99 tenths. Okay, I want you to try and come up with what you think the high number would be, and then put the low and the high in standard form. Don't forget, you can just look back up here if you're getting stuck. Okay, so for the high number, you should have written 100 tenths, because 100 is 1 greater than 99. And then when you're rewriting them in standard form, 99 tenths, remember, we just look right up here at our place value chart, is 9.9. And 100 tenths is going to be equal to 10. So halfway between my midpoint would be 99 tenths. And I'm going to go 1 place value over to the right and look at that, hundredths. So 5 hundredths. Oh, my numbers are running out of room. When I rewrite this number in standard form, I'm still sticking with my 9 where it is, so I should start with 9.9 and then just add my 5 to it. So here is my midpoint between 9 and 9 tenths, and 10 is 9 and 95 hundredths. So I'm going to look back at my number, 9.94. 9.95 is my midpoint, and I know that 4 is a little bit less than 5, so it's going to go somewhere right around here. It's in that bottom section now, so I'm going to be rounding down to 9 and 9 tenths. All right, last practice problem like this. I want you to focus on decomposing the number and then renaming the units. Once we have our number in unit form, which is what we write here, and then putting it in standard form. That's what I want you to focus on. So this time we're rounding to the nearest hundredth. I want you to decompose the number. So what numbers are going to end up being in the hundredths place value? Go ahead and pause the video while you figure this out. All right, if you're ready, I have a 9 and a 9 in front of my 4, so I'm going to end up decomposing that number, squishing them over, squish, the 9, 9 go in front of the 4. So I now have 994 hundredths. You go ahead and fill in on your vertical number line the low and the high number, and then if you feel really confident, then go ahead and do the midpoint right now as well. Pause the video while you do this. All right, here is the low number. Remember, the low number is just the number that I have here when I've squished everything over. 994 hundredths. And my high number is going to be 1 greater than that, so 995 hundredths. Okay. Now when I put these numbers in standard form, I'm just looking back at what I have written already here. Let's do our midpoint first. So halfway between 994 hundredths and 995 hundredths is going to be that bottom number, 994 hundredths. And then I look to the place value to the right. That is my thousandths place, so that will be 5 because that's my halfway number, thousandths. Make this much smaller so we can see it all. And then when I write these numbers in standard form, I'm going to go look back at my place value chart so that I can see what they're actually worth. That's 9.95. This is 9.945. And this one is 9.94. So I'm looking at the number that I have, 9.949. 9.949. So I see that 5 is a lot less than 9, so that means my 9 is going to be going up here somewhere, right around here. And so when I'm rounding to the nearest hundredth, my number will round to this. Okay. One last problem that applies these principles of finding the high number and the low number and rounding it is this maximum and minimum. So the problem says a decimal number has one digit to the right of the decimal point. If we round this number to the nearest whole number, the result is 27. What are the maximum and minimum possible values of these numbers? Values just means what is the number. Use a number line to show your reasoning. Include the midpoints. So we have a decimal number. It has one digit to the right. So I'm going to look at my important parts here. 27 is important and one digit to the right. Okay, so when I round it, it can be 27. So it's a number that has a tenths place, but we don't know what that number is yet. We're going to figure it out. So in order to find the maximum number, that means the highest number that it could possibly be, my number on the bottom would have to be 27. And then my number at the top is going to be 28, and these are both ones. Because I'm rounding it to 27, and 27 doesn't have any decimal points, so that tells me I'm rounding to the nearest 1. When I decompose it, I'm getting 27 ones and 28 ones because I'm trying to find my largest number, so I'm going to go one higher than what I started with. One higher than my original number, so 28 ones. My midpoint would be 27 ones, and then one place value to the left of that would be tenths, and I know my halfway point is 5, so 5 tenths. Now these numbers written in standard form are just 27 and 28, and then this one would be 27.5. Okay, when I'm rounding this number, I know that I ended up with this because it says my number was 27 when it was rounded up here. One digit to the right, and the result was 27. So what's the highest possible point that I could go to with just one place value, just a tenths place value to the right? It would be all the way up here, but not touching the midpoint. So what would be that last point before the midpoint? I know that since I have 5 tenths, it's a number line, so 1 tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths, 4 tenths, 5 tenths. If I get to 5 tenths, I'm too high, so one less than that would be right about here, 4 tenths. So my highest possible number it could have been was 27 and 4 tenths without going above that, because then it would round to 28. So 27.4 is my maximum number. When I'm looking at my minimum number, this time my high number is going to be 27 ones because I'm trying to find the lowest. Minimum means the lowest possible, so I'm going to go one less than 27, do 26 ones for my midpoint. I'm sorry, for my low number. Then I'm going to find my midpoint, which is 26 ones and 5 tenths. And that number written in standard form is